All right, we should be live. I can tell the video sputtering a little bit, but this may just work. Welcome, good evening. I have the chat here to my right, the main screen to my left. Let me know if you guys can see and hear me to this interesting test for this evening. We're using 1.2 gigs. I thought we'd be using more, but it's in swap already. Okay. Can I screen share? Looks like it might work. Okay, I'll give this a few minutes. Is the video DT made it early for a change. Okay, welcome. Is the video stable enough? I notice it's sputtering a little bit, but I think it's doable considering this machine had Windows XP. And I think it works. So all the Windows users out there, that's the potential power of Linux. Present Arms, welcome. Red Robo, welcome. I'm not used to two monitors, I'll be honest, but let me see here. That works there. Alright, that's the video. I'll screen share here in a moment. Let me turn off this. Happy Easter. Picture sluggish but usable. I kind of figured that. Frame rate is low, but the sound is good. Okay, alright. Well, you know what? That's good enough. That's good enough. I love ThinkPads. They rock. Windows users, if you want to try Linux cheaply, just buy yourself a ThinkPad. They just work. At least for Ubuntu based. They just work. So there you go. Mint and 2 gig. Yeah, a Present Arms Mint and 2 gig is fine. Doing all this is not that good. It's doable, but it's not that good. Yeah. But it's good enough. Yeah, the video is a bit fuzzy. Yeah, the CPU is struggling. I'm sure it is. Let me check my emails real quick. Hey, it's not a thread ripper, okay? Alright, so got that up. Alright, so we're looking good. At least on my end. Yeah, I got the monitor, system monitor up. It's 1.5 gigs now. It went up. We're pushing it. We're pushing it. I don't know. This might be an unstable stream like DT's. This is weird on two monitors, but I think I can do it. Okay. Alright. If anybody wants to join, you're more than welcome to. I got to turn up the brightness on the laptop. Hello. It works. What kind of a CPU? This is a Celery. Intel Centrino Duo. That's what this is. This is a ThinkPad T60. 2 gigs of RAM. I think this will hold maximum 3 gigs. Probably the extra gig would probably help. But right now CPU usage is almost 100% on both cores. It's probably going 1.6, the RAM's going up. So I don't know. You know what? If it crashes, it crashes. Yeah, it's almost 100%. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, this thing is from DT. This thing is from this is manufactured 2006, 7. I'm surprised I got this far, I'll be quite honest. I thought it would just stall. But let me see if I can get some people in the chat here. Yeah, thank you, everybody, for stopping, and thank you for your patience. Again, this is just an experiment. Um, the CPU will be getting battered, yeah. I unplugged the AC power supply for fear this would overheat and shut down. Yeah, this is fun, yeah. Well, hopefully it will remain fun. It doesn't crash. But yeah, it's struggling, I can tell. Let's see if I can get some people in here. Let me shut down the system monitor. Let's do that. Come on, come on, it's struggling. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is a Centrino. This is popular mid-2000s, I think. Again, this was designed for Windows XP. So, Benjamin, check your email. DT, I'll send you a link if you want to stop in. Hopefully this will not stall. Again, this is just an experiment. Hopefully it will not stall. You know, most Windows users are probably not going to do this. You know, they're going to say, what? 2 gigs? What's he smoking? It's just a test. Again, to show the power of Linux, or the potential power of Linux. All right, check your Dan, check your email. Ben and DT, check your email if you want to stop in.
Did it crash it?
I can see you. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
I feel like Verizon. Can you see me now? Can you hear me now? Good. Can you see me now? Good.
Well, the problem is that guy works for Sprint now.
I know.
So that's where we got to go too. You know,
Verizon's better. Trust me. Yeah.
I'm on AT&T. I have
AT&T is good too.
I have no horse in this race.
All right. DT says drop down to 480. Okay. All right. Since this is a test, why not? Let's go down one more. I got it down to low bandwidth, so I should be even fuzzier, but maybe smoother. So yeah, people coming in late watching this, there's nothing wrong with your screen. I dropped it down. You know that spoke wheel on the Hangouts, you can adjust the bandwidth. Actually, right to the left of that, you can adjust the bandwidth. I dropped it down to low. I don't want to go any lower. Dan, check your email. DT, check your email if you want to join. But maybe this might be smoother. Still not. It's good enough. It's good enough. Yeah, I have the chat here on the laptop, and what I did, I took this 19-inch monitor, TV monitor, out of the mothballs and got it running. It's much smoother. Okay, thank you, Ron. So it's a little bit fuzzier but smoother. Okay, good enough. Yeah, I have the Logitech, the C920, but it's smoother. Okay. I bet it won't crash until TOS powers up our browser. Well, I had to install Vivaldi. Chromium was a fail, at least for this. I couldn't screen share. But Vivaldi works fine. Let's see. If we have any new people watching, please do stop by and say hello. All right, HTOP is not installed in Linux Mint, but that's okay. That's okay. This will work. I'm not going to overclock this sucker. No, Skybear. No. Yeah, even if I wanted to.
Sluggish.
Danny boy, Baba Boo, what's up, man?
Yeah. They didn't know if it wanted to take or not.
Well, it's working.
That it
DT,
is.
hop on, DT. It's working. Hopefully it'll stay working, at least until 10 o'clock for about an hour or so. I got it running on battery power, so again, I was afraid to leave the AC power supply like and overheat the unit. So what I did with this laptop, this is a ThinkPad T60 Centrino Duo. It's a refurbished or renewed or whatever they call it. I paid about $200. It even has a fingerprint sensor to the right. It has the metal hinges on the side, but it plays Linux wonderfully. ThinkPad T60, 2 gigs of RAM. I did upgrade the hard drive to an SSD Kingston 100. It's this one here, 120 gigabyte. If you can see that SSD.
You think it helped?
I think the SSD probably. I think the extra RAM would help.
With a machine that old, it has a SATA bus in it, right?
I just took out the on the back of the unit. You know, there's like one screw. Pop it out. You just slide it right out. There's like a little caddy. It's the same size as the SSD. So.
But it takes this. It's the same SATA setup as your newer machines.
Oh yeah.
Because that machine could be
3?
IDE.
Right.
As well.
It could be, but these are what, SATA 3, right?
Yeah, the cables are not interchangeable.
Right.
So if you bought a SATA SSD, then you got a SATA cable in it.
Yes, so it's 2.5 inch. Yeah, that's what it is.
Probably it's 3.5 gigs tops or 3 gigs tops. The newer machines do 6, and they take the best advantage of an SSD.
Okay. Yeah, it fit right in. So anyway, yeah, dual core. I put in a fresh battery after 12 years. I think it had the original battery. It only had half the juice, but I wasn't complaining. So that was it. A fresh battery, SSD. Install Linux Mint. I wiped Windows off of this.
Windows be clean.
Windows be gone. Feel the power of Linux Mint. Red Robo says T60 is a lovely old machine with a great keyboard. Yeah. And it has the little track ball in the middle, or the.
Oh, I love them things.
It's the track point, like the
red thing. They should all come with them.
I know. It's got the metal. I think I dropped this once or twice. It's cracked on the side.
Yeah,
had to put it black.
Mine's got that, but as you could tell, it's got the little chiclet keyboard.
Oh, you got one.
I mean, these things are like Hondas, man. They just keep running and running and running, you know.
Yeah, I like the older keyboards better, though. They're kind of clunky, but I like the way they feel better.
Yeah. DT Vivaldi is still compiling. Okay. Oh, that's right. You're on Manjar compiling. Oh, geez. Okay.
That's all I use for Hangouts is in Vivaldi because it has some features in it that Chromium doesn't.
Yeah. But
you know what I'm really afraid of? I'm afraid of Firefox is going to be like the lone browser that's left that's, not supported. Like, Google, they have, Vivaldi and Chromium, and now Microsoft is adopting them. And I'm getting the feeling that, Google's getting too close to owning the whole internet.
Yeah.
And Firefox and its derivatives, if Firefox dries up because of low market share, that means WaterFox, Opera, and the others that depend on it.
For me, Firefox is horrible on Linux. It sputters, it's slow. Like, I'll be typing and it has to keep up. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm forced to use Chrome or Chromium. I can't use Fox. Now on Windows it's fine. So something's going on.
I use WaterFox, which is a derivative of Firefox. Yeah. It's much lighter.
Is it? Okay.
And it comes as like a tar ball. You just extract it all and it runs in its own folder.
Right.
Or you can install it into the system manually if you want to.
Maybe I can see if this Firefox is a snap. Maybe that might work better. I don't know.
Well, if you're on an Arch-based distro, WaterFox is in the AUR.
Okay. So we'll see. But yeah, Firefox on my Ubuntu, and it's well, the other day I was on my big screen typing. It's like I type the letters and it showed there's like a 1 second delay. I'm like, come on, man.
It's the Quantum. The Quantum is a turd.
I guess so. I guess. Well, it is in Linux. Yeah.
Firefox
Windows, I don't see a
Quantum
problem.
See, WaterFox comes from Firefox,
Yeah.
but they don't implement the quantum stuff.
Okay.
But Quantum looks
hi,
so.
Tony. Yeah.
But Quantum looks so polished, though.
It does.
Yeah.
It's deceiving, though.
If you get what I mean, Dan.
Yeah.
That's what you called it.
The only thing I use Firefox for is the DRM for the movies for Netflix and Amazon. You got to have that. That comes from Google too, and they put it in the Firefox so you can watch movies.
Yeah. Yes. The DR, like Hulu, Netflix won't work for me in WaterFox.
Yeah.
I use Firefox, but I have those as ICE apps though. So I just type in the command to launch Netflix, and it launches it through an ICE application.
The plugin is called Widevine, and it comes from Google, but they put it in WaterFox so you can watch that stuff.
I remember testing WaterFox. It was okay. Pale Moon. I tested. Well, there was another one. I can't think of it now. I don't know. Let me bring up the monitor again. Let's see where we're at.
The stream is holding pretty good, other than it's fuzzy because I'm watching myself go to you and then come back to me on another browser.
Okay. We're at 1.6 gigs. So I'm running 23. Looks like it's running 23 megabytes of swap. And I'm at 1. So it's using 80% of the 2 gigs, which isn't bad. Let's see if it'll screen share without crashing. If this crashes, I'll just restart another Hangouts, by the way. So. Well, I don't know what else to do. All right, you guys should be able to see this, yeah? Right? I think you guys see this?
Yeah, I can see it on...
okay.
I can see it on the Hangouts browser.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the CPU, it's running 90, 80%, 1.7 gigs. Again, this is Linux Mint Mate. I got the wallpaper changer app going. What's it called? Variety? Something like that. Hi, Anna Rita.
You might have been able to get a little more out of it if you would have got the XFCE Mint.
Probably could have squeezed out a little more. But, 2 gigs is 2 gigs of RAM. So, but overall, I think it's okay. So Windows users, regardless of what you may have heard of Linux in the past, that it sucks, and in the past it did for new users. I'll have to be honest, but a lot has changed, so you can do this. I don't recommend you do this all the time if you are a Windows user, but it can't. Since I'm the Jedi of YouTube on a budget, I should just do a special stream one night. I'm doing YouTube on a budget. So, but yeah, this I would say the SSD, Dan, definitely helps. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if I had a machine like that, honestly...
Here you go. Yeah, it's 1.83 gigahertz.
I would maybe either install Arch 32 and Manjaro 32 and put LXDE on it.
Yeah.
That might be a little...
Yeah.
I have a similar machine, but it's a Dell. It has Peppermint on it with XFCE, and... it runs pretty good. It runs both cores almost to 80% to watch a live stream, but other than that, it's still supported and it still works good.
And Arita says, "Wow, 2 gigs." That's what I'm saying. Wow, and it works.
There's a RAM shortage.
Little fuzzy, but it works. Yeah,
I bet you when that machine came out, 2 gigs was probably a powerhouse.
Oh, for XP, yeah. For XP, not a problem. DT, you set the join? You're still compiling or whatever you're compiling?
I seen them flash on for a few minutes.
That is. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hear me good. Okay.
Yeah, not real good.
Too.
It's kind of echoey.
Okay.
I don't have echo in my earpiece, but I can hear you.
It sounds like his voice is bouncing off the wall.
Then on your end, when you speak, I hear static. I don't know if it's me or you, but
Me?
yeah. When you're talking, I hear a little static. Yeah.
There ain't much.
I don't have HTOP installed on this Tron, so yeah.
How's things now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
The better?
I'm still hearing static, but that's okay.
I got a new computer a couple of weeks ago, Toss, and I hadn't installed Vivaldi because I haven't needed to join a Hangout, so I had to take the time.
I understand. Yeah. I understand, yeah.
And then you got to set all the inputs and everything, the mic and headphones.
Yeah. And Of course, I got this running off the Wi-Fi, which probably is not a good idea.
I'm going to mute my mic. Tell me if it goes away.
Testing 1, 2. Yeah, it's going away. I don't know. It could be my thing. It could be my my setup too.
Yeah, I don't hear any problems.
Okay,
with
Derek. Okay, now Derek is statically, so it must be on my end. So just to let the viewers watching, if you hear static, I believe it's on my end. But I'm not complaining. This thing is running pretty smooth so far with just 2 gigs. So if you're joining in late, this is a test. Linux Mint Mate. This is 18.3. I mean, it worked. I didn't feel the need to do the Mint 19 something that they have now. And we're running this, my friends here now, with just 2 gigs of RAM. It appears I had to crank down the bandwidth setting on Hangouts to like low. That's why my screen may be a little fuzzy. But it seems to be working. Yeah, I'm afraid to install anything, Present Arms. Yeah, I know, sudo apt install. Yeah, I'm just going to leave this the way it is because it's working, so... So if we have any people coming in late, that's what we're doing. A test with 2 gigs of RAM on a ThinkPad T60. I upgraded the to an SSD, fresh battery. That's it. I got the same old Logitech camera and the $20 mic, mic or $15 mic, whatever. And we're good. CJ, he says, what's up, Fuzzy? Yes, this is a fuzzy thank toss. It's Friday evening.
Toss is feeling fuzzy today.
I'm feeling warm and fuzzy. It's Easter weekend. For those of you who don't know what Easter weekend is, if you don't celebrate that kind of festivities, it's a Sunday where we celebrate the Saint Bugs Bunny.
The Saint Bun.
My mom today says, you can't eat meat. I'm like, really, Mom? I went out to Walmart, got like a 6-pack of the pretzel bread. It looked so soft and fresh. I made myself a sandwich. She says, why are you eating it? Whatever. The sound static is intermittent. Okay. Thank you, Sky Bear. Yeah, I don't go for this no meat and supposed to eat fish today, whatever.
Earlier today, I had a quarter pounder at McDonald's before work.
I'm looking for the rabbit.
I'm sure McDonald's found it. No meat today, McDonald's. Yeah, sure.
And then I went to work in a meat department in a grocery store.
Well, there you go. So. There you go.
I'm just an enabler, too, at that point.
When I'm hungry, I eat. CJ says, Holy East, Batman, pretzel bread is amazing. Yes. Yes, it is. Here we go. Like DT once said, mate and meatballs show. Here we go.
Yeah, I was hoping I made it in time for the food discussion.
Yes. The pretzel bread was excellent. I had Sargento provolone cheese, some salami slices. I'm like, I love Easter. Delicious.
Excuse me, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I gotta go make a sandwich now.
Be my guest. This wallpaper changer thing is pretty cool. Anybody else uses wallpaper changer?
The automatic changer?
Yeah, I think it's called Variety.
Yeah,
cool.
Some of the distros come with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably sucking up some RAM, but that's okay.
Actually, I just set it and leave it. I'm using Mate, so I use the black Ubuntu Mate wallpaper because it just looks right on 2 monitors. Yeah. Okay. It's really hard to get a distro to show different wallpapers on 2 monitors.
Well, I mean, I'm running my ThinkPad is here. I got the camera right on top. I got my big screen 19-inch to the left. And I'm going back. This takes getting used to go this. I feel like I'm working for NASA, with all the screens doing this, But I prefer to have it on one large screen, so my eyes are focused right there versus doing this back and forth. But that's what I've gotten used to.
I've been spoiled by an extended monitor. It's once you go extended, you don't go
Once
back.
you have an extra one, you're spoiled.
Yep.
I mean, I'm doing it now, but I don't feel like I need to say, "Wow, this is cool." I mean, it is cool in a way. It's cool that it's working with 2 gigs.
Hey Dan, if you want a wallpaper, different wallpapers on multiple monitors, install a program called Nitrogen. It lets you set a wallpaper on each monitor. It doesn't have to be the same wallpaper.
You know what? Someone told me to do that before, and I tried to install it, and it nearly crashed my machine.
It should be in everybody's deep repos. It's an older program. It's been around forever.
It doesn't seem to work with the newer Ubuntu distros very well.
Yeah.
I'll try it again. Maybe I got just a bad download.
CJ asked what I'm doing for Easter. I will be home. Probably Sunday morning, and in fact, I have to email our friend Stephanie. We usually record the news nonsense Sunday morning. We may go live. We're going to try and do a live mini concert for you guys, maybe. So be on the lookout. I have to email her tomorrow and see what her plans are.
Approximately what time?
She's 6 hours ahead. She's not coming back in the States until I think she said July or late June. So we try to do them like our time between 10 and 11:30. So it's not like late for her. It's like 5:30 for her.
I get breakfast music.
There you go. We'll have Stephanie do some breakfast music. Yeah. So we'll see how things work out. We may not have to pay. Maybe I mean, it depends. Last week she was busy. Sunday she has time, but she's doing work on her album, and she's recording vocal work for other people's projects. So she takes the jobs as they come, obviously. But if we do it, it'll be Sunday morning.
Yeah, she probably gets a lot of, how'd you do that? Can you do that for me? Stuff like that.
She's a sweetheart. So yeah, check out Stephanie here on YouTube. So,
but she does something unique to one of her songs, and somebody else wants them to do something similar for her, or for her to do for them.
She actually, thank you, Steve. Such a smart, funny show. Well, I know we're funny. Smart, I'm not so sure.
Well, it's really hard to be a singer and a music producer at the same time too.
She has, I know, CJ, you do music, and CJ, I need to email you either tonight or tomorrow morning. I need to chat. Yeah, she just has a natural talent. I guess her mom pushed her to learn guitar. She has her mom's voice, I guess. Now the songwriting, either you have it or you don't. And she says the songs just come to her. So it's a gift. So I think it's wonderful that we have her as part of the community. She really doesn't have time to mess with Linux, which is understandable. But she's welcome anytime, obviously. So, yeah. So just make sure, those of you who are on make sure you click that notification bell if we do something live Sunday. It'll be something fairly short, maybe 3-4 songs. Maybe take some requests. Maybe, I'm not sure yet. I have to check with her. Yeah, CJ, Stephanie does have an angelic voice. Totally agree. And she's a good sport doing news and nonsense. That one Australian story was a couple weeks ago. A guy, an employee, a guy went to court because his supervisor kept passing gas in front of him, and the guy says that's a form of bullying. And she's like, "What? Who could claim that?" I'm like, "Well, Stephanie, I have to read the legal stuff. Of course, I don't want to make this long-winded." She's like, "Oh," So Stephanie, thank you. You've been a good sport doing news and nonsense, and but that was a natural story. Where's Vince tonight? Really, he lives in Melbourne or whatever.
Yeah, he's busy with his Vegemite.
I guess so. But that was a story. A guy went to court. And now the appeals court over saying, no, you can't sue or go to court for farting as a form of bullying. Although I don't know. I mean, What's the difference between verbally abusing an employee as a supervisor or farting abusing an employee? But no, seriously. I mean, me and Stephanie laughed on, but then I have a friend of mine who's a retired attorney, and I got him thinking, what is the difference between you are a lowly employee, your boss comes in, verbally abuses you, he stops that at just gassing abusing you. I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to think like an attorney. I'm not.
You must be full of hot air.
Well, if you get picked for jury duty, then I'll ask you, how would you weigh that? I'm just asking, Dan says, never mind, I'm out of here. DT, what say you?
We're just going to leave that one alone.
Okay, all right.
Demonetized.
Okay.
The stream is already struggling.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Anyway, I'd have to think, like, if I was on the jury doing it, I would have to think about it. But,
I don't know. I think it depends. Like, if you purposely walk into a room and start gassing someone, I mean, that's...
Yeah.
That's kind of mean.
Okay. Well, it is. Yeah. Look, it's easy to say, "Oh, come on," but then I thought, "Wait a minute. What if it happened to me?"
It's not criminal. I mean, you got to get them back.
So next day, show up to work after eating a dozen fiber bars and say, "Lock and load."
Chipotle does it for me.
Yes. Okay. Anyway. CJ says that gassing is necessary. You're right. I think it is. And that's our stream tonight. The theming is gas. Linux Mint and anyway, if we have any new people watching, we usually have more class than this.
Not really. Not usually. Yeah.
Man.
All right, your video is coming back now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but yeah.
It's going to be the CPU. It's going to be the bottleneck. It's just it can't keep up.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Minty gas. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Minty gas.
Woo. Okay. It's still family friendly though, because adults who don't want to admit it, they do it. Husbands and wives, they do it. They do. See, there was a comedian one time down in Florida. He was talking about that bodily process. He says when guys fart, like if guys would gas a letter of the alphabet, it would be like a manly "arr." When a woman when a woman gasses, it's like Q. I don't know why I remember that joke, but okay.
It's the silent ones you got to look out for.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you can't because they're silent. You don't know it's there until it's too late.
You need to wear one of those radiation monitors, but except it'd be a gas monitor.
Be prepared to run.
Yeah, really. If we have any new people watching, you're welcome to say hello. That's why we're here for. At least that's what I'm here for. We are testing Linux Mint Mate on a ThinkPad T60, which had Windows XP normally with just 2 gigs of RAM. And there's no gas coming out of my laptop, so that's good.
That's a very good thing.
Yeah, really. It'd be funny if it started smoking. I'm like, oh man, who lit one up?
You won't like it. It'll stink.
I know. Wow.
Oops.
Yeah. If you can see those floating in the air, yeah. Oh, the worst thing is in the shower. My God. Even my cement blocks melt. Saint Raphael. Yeah. Welcome. Your wife and I fart in front of each other. Really? Must be a Canadian thing.
It's so cold up there. That must be how they keep warm.
Yeah. Yes. Natural heat. So DT, how's that new computer running? Sweet.
Yeah, it's been great. You might have caught some of that video I did yesterday on the Ubuntu's. I ran all 6 Ubuntu's at the same time.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So, and the CPU didn't struggle at all. And that was giving each VM, 2 threads. Yeah. So 24 threads in the 6 VMs. And then I gave each VM 4 gigs of RAM. Still had plenty to record in OBS. No drop frames or anything in the video when I went back and checked it out. So that was a good test. That's mainly the reason I did all 6 at the same time. I wanted to test the machine more than check out Ubuntu. So.
Nice. So the rendering time, did it shave in half?
Yeah,
like about half.
It cut it down quite a bit. I want to say it used to take me a half-hour video. Used to take me like an hour and 15 minutes.
Same here, yeah.
And now maybe, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes. Yeah, it's, like a third, maybe better. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I have what do I have? This is a gateway that plays solid with Linux. This is an AMD A6. It's probably similar to an i3. I stopped uploading in 1080p because I just got tired of waiting. So until I can pick up a new PC, I'm just going to do 720 and make sure it's, as clean as possible.
Of course, those render times, they're much improved, but I've increased the render times a little bit because I got a better machine. I used to render in 1080-30. Now, the last few videos, I've been doing 1080-60. So
okay. Yeah.
But yeah, if I was doing 1080-30, it's like a massive difference between this CPU and the other one.
I mean, I can do 1080p and I was, but like a 20-minute video was like an hour over, and I'm like, it's not worth it. Like, especially with the podcast, I don't, you know what I mean? It's so, but
how's that Radeon card working out for you?
Well, I've put it to the test a little bit. I mean, I've played some stuff on Steam, put some Steam games up and put all the highest settings that I could on it, and it handles everything like a champ.
Did it come water cooled too?
No, I didn't water cool the GPU.
Yeah, because they just released one of the manufacturers just released a water cooling plate for that thing.
Now it's got 3 fans on the GPU, and a lot of people complain that the Radeon 7 is kind of a hot card and that the fans run a lot and it's kind of noisy. I have not noticed any noise at all out of mine, so maybe I just got lucky. But
you haven't stressed it hard enough.
I've put it through some things.
Anna-Rita, you are one strange Canadian. Just see your comments. Right above Lars. Hi, Lars.
I got you.
Yeah, I won't. Yeah. It's funny, but I won't repeat it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Joe Panico's in the chat. He said we tested my card out a little bit the other night. Me and Joe Panico played some Ballistic Overkill on Steam.
Nice.
And, it wasn't a good game for either one of us. So.
Okay. There's some news about the Halo TV series. Speaking of games, they are getting their act together. They hired an actor to play the Master Chief. I don't know, is it Pablo something? It'd be funny if the Master Chief comes on and he speaks Spanish. You know, ma'am, I'm the Master Chief, man. That would be funny. You know, you little cockroaches, aliens, you're no freaking good. Okay, that would be funny.
It's the Cuban Master Chief.
Yeah, it's the film or the series will be done by Steven Spielberg production company. He's not involved directly, but it should be interesting. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Going back and forth here. Yeah, this CPU is really, those 2 squirrels are, man.
Them 2 mice on that wheel are really running.
I know. They're like,
In 2006,
so let's try and get you in the house if we can do it. If you want to join us.
In 2006, though, that was a decent machine.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for Windows XP, that was perfect.
And really putting aside this, it's fine. I mean, that SSD really does help. Yeah, aside doing this, which I don't recommend, honestly, if you're a Windows user, I just did this more or less as an experiment, and if it crashed and burned, I don't care. You know, I have no ego to bruise, but it's working. So that, again, if you are new to this, this is the potential power of Linux. That's why I want a national Linux desktop. For Windows users who will be losing support for Windows 7, you've heard the stories about the Windows updates, you're not happy, and you want a Linux alternative. Right now, the best Linux alternative in my book are Chromebooks because they have proven themselves for the money. You know, $200 up to the Pixel book is what the top line is, $1,400. But this can work. I bet if I maxed out the gig from 2 to 3 gig, I bet it would be a lot smoother. But it's good enough for what, you know, for this test. Yeah, Joe, I just sent an email. So again, if we have it, I think Lars, are you new? Lars, what are Lars K? If you are new, welcome. And what Linux OS do you use, if you use any? If you don't, that's okay. But if you do use Linux, let us know which distribution. The latest Ubuntu 19.04 rocks.
We know Lars doesn't use Arch, though, because if he had used Arch Linux, he would have told us that already.
I know. You Arch-based guys like to show, I'm on Arch, the power of Arch. Yeah, okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, by the way.
By the way, huh?
I know. Arch, the AUR, the Arch Useless Repository. Just a joke.
There is something going on in my settings here. Camera. I think it's the GVC view. I'm trying to adjust things. I'm making it worse. Now I look like I'm sitting.
Oh, look at that, Lars. Yes, he uses Arch.
Wow.
Me too, by the way.
Yep.
I'm still getting used to these dual screens, but
oh, you got a second monitor?
Well, I have my laptop here for the test and my 19-inch to the left. So,
okay.
Just to do something different, like I was joking, like I feel like I work for NASA, you know, with the multiple screens, you know.
Yeah.
But I still prefer everything on one large screen, just so everything is right in front of me. But that's just me.
Did you get a ton of Ubuntu updates in the last couple of days?
Yep.
It's like the last 3 days. Last 3
Mm.
days they hit me pretty hard.
Really? Okay.
Every day.
By the way, if you guys are hearing static, I think it's me. I think it's the two squirrels choking on this machine, you know. But
I don't hear it.
It's working. Yeah, welcome, Lars. And you use Arch. What made you pick Arch? You're obviously not a newbie. At least I don't think you are. Yeah, everybody welcome Lars to the channel. Welcome. Somebody posted last night's stream, which went a little long. Oh dear, this video is a waste of time. And I wrote, yeah, you and probably a billion Windows users probably think it's I was talking about Ubuntu 19, and then we went off to other topics, you know.
You know what, Toss? I knew it would work. I knew it wouldn't be the greatest. I knew it wouldn't be as good as we're all used to, but I knew you could tweak it to get the job done. Because I got a machine right here, it's the same layout.
Lars says it's what you grew up on. Wow.
Well, you know,
There's Sleepy.
I would like to see the data on this, but Luke Smith actually said that he's known people that have come straight from Windows right to Arch Linux and had no problems.
Okay.
I'd like to see the numbers. I'd like to see the actual data for that.
I would too.
I've seen some of that. If you hang out on the Arch Linux forums or the Gentoo forums even, occasionally you will see somebody, I don't know how they get there, but I guess they go to Distro Watch. Oh, that's a cool name. That's a cool logo. And that's the first thing they jump into. and somehow they, if they read the wiki, they manage to get through it. But usually the first thing people tell them is, you know what, maybe you should have tried Ubuntu first. Come back in a couple of months. You know?
Yeah, somebody commented that the forums are really unfriendly. They're so like, stuck up or something like that. And I said, well, on this channel we do our. He says, no, not you, not you. He was just, making a comment. I guess that still happens today. I better plug this sucker in before the power dies. Give me a second here, but yeah.
The Arch forums are a little worse than some of the others. The Gentoo forums, they're bad, but they're not as bad as the Arch forum. The Gentoo guys are usually nice. They'll tell you, that you're an idiot, but they'll say it in a nice way, where the Arch forums can be mean.
Yeah.
Well, but I think, though, that especially with like Serge, right? Like he really wants to help you. Like he wants you to run Gentoo because he thinks your life will be better. Your computing experience will be better for it. Like he's not looking to be an elitist about it.
Yeah. Silent robot too.
Yeah.
The one thing about installing something like Arch or Gentoo or even something like Linux from scratch, if you're going to do it and think you're going to learn something from it, you have to take the time to kind of figure out what each command means. You can't just copy and paste things in a terminal. Like anybody can copy and paste in a terminal over the next 20 minutes and have an Arch install up and running. That doesn't mean you actually know what any of those commands did. You all you did was read a wiki page and copied and pasted. So
yeah, when I first started to install Arch Linux, I tried to run like the command with TAC H to see what the flags were, to try to understand what exactly I was doing, what exactly was going on as I went.
Well, I shared something today too. This is an FYI for anybody out there that's thinking about switching video cards and going over to Team Red. I don't think I talked to you about this the other night or not, Derek. I can't remember, but I learned the hard way with something here. I had bought a 580. It was an XFX. And I got the card. I think I was telling you about it, so this might sound like old hat to you, but I got the thing in. I put it. I had to do some switching around between the two machines here. I took the 1050 and put it back in the other one. I had to switch power supplies around. And I get this card in there, and no sooner I fired it up, everything seemed fine on the surface. And then I went to try opening the games and stuff, and even watching a YouTube video was getting stuttery. And the card started making a bad buzz. I thought, oh boy, I got a defective card. And that was something that somebody actually pointed out in the reviews. And I kind of take those with a grain of salt to a point. So I send the card back. I order a Sapphire, which is the one I really wanted anyway. But I thought, well, I would try this one because it actually had more reviews and all that. And it came in, and it was quiet. Everything seemed to be running fine. And I started getting the same stuttering and issue, the crackling. And I went in and I checked the Nvidia servers, and everything was empty. So I thought, well, I pulled a real newbie mistake. I literally did not. I thought I did, but I literally did not disable the Nvidia drivers and switch them over to the Nouveau. And I said that in Telegram the other day, and somebody asked me that, and I go, duh. I mean, I was embarrassed as all get-go. But at the same token, anybody can make a mistake. And I thought, but it's a good way to teach somebody that if you are going to switch over to this, because I thought to myself, do I purge all my drivers? But then I thought, if the card doesn't work, then I got to go back and download the PPA. It's not like it's a huge deal.
It's a Windows mistake.
The reality is you should take all the drivers out and then just go back to the Nouveau drivers, and you should be fine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If you try that in Windows, you got to pull the drivers out and then put the right ones in for the hardware you're sticking in there replacing.
And that's what's normally recommended. You should always get rid of the drivers that you're from your old card. And because even we talked about that in the Patreon, the Destination Linux today, and Zeb said the same thing. He says, even if you disable them and you switch over and all that, he said, eventually, once the card's really under load, it still might look for those other drivers and cause conflicts. So what I did now is I figured 3 strikes. I'm waiting for it to come. I ordered a 590. I wound up going with a power color because actually all the reviews I was seeing on the power color, it seems like there's trade-offs to everything. The motherboard I have in here, I've got the little, PCI slot for the wireless card. Well, this is a 2.5 slot card, and guess what's underneath that? So now I'm going to have to move it down to the actual video card slot, which will take that same wireless card because it's designed for that. But it'd be interesting to see. Hopefully, it doesn't affect my wireless any differently when it comes. But there's a lot of things that really need to be considered. I think not only for any system that you're putting in, whether it's Windows or whatever, but especially when it comes to Linux, it's not that it's difficult. It's just, it's a different animal, and you got to look at it a little bit differently and stuff. But what I do like is that the fact that, if the way it's going, you're experiencing it, Derek, that these AMD cards, and so is Ryan and everybody else with the drivers baked in, and now Nvidia also is offering something too now. I don't know if they're offering it or if it's actually Linux is bringing it in. There's some where when you do the install, it's different now. You don't have to the newer kernel. It's supposed to recognize what you have and make it easier to pull the driver in.
Yeah.
So those are just kind of like FYI tips or help. Hopefully that maybe, I'm still learning my way around it, but it's things that people don't think about when they do it. I've got some experience here and I still didn't think of it.
Well, the good thing with the AMD cards, if you're going to use the open source drivers, you really don't have to do anything, right? It's all there. So unless you need the AMD proprietary drivers for some reason, there's really no hoops to jump through. You just plug in the card. And
if you're using Nvidia, is to make sure you don't have those in place before you do that and switch that to evolve to the open source, right?
Yeah, and the problem with Nvidia is you almost have to use the proprietary drivers.
Right.
You can't game with the Nouveau drivers. You can't render video with the Nouveau drivers. It's useless. So.
Did you have an Nvidia card before you went to this? What you have now, Derek?
Yeah, I have a Nvidia 1060. That's what I had.
So did you do the driver purge first and switch back to the before you actually put the card in then?
Well, I don't have that 1060 in the new machine. This machine only has the Radeon in it.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
I wanted to welcome Stan here. He's new to the chat. Hi, Stan.
Hello,
Everybody say hi, Stan. King of Bass, thank you for the super chat. Do you play music, King of Bass? CJ is a drummer here. Welcome, King of Bass. Thank you for the super chat. Hi, Stan. Welcome. Stan's another Arch user. Gee, we have all the DT fans showing up tonight. Come on. No, just kidding.
I don't even use Arch, though. I'm on Arco. So.
Oh, Arco. But that's based on Arch, right?
It's basically Arch with Eric Dubois loaded configs.
Yeah.
He installs 3 different web browsers and about 15 different text editors.
Stan picked Arch as his first distro. Wow, because of the something. But wow, okay. Yeah, a couple years ago, you guys, the community voted Arch the #1 distro of the year that one year. And I totally get it. For total, control and I want to make it your own, I would have to agree. Well, I don't have the time for that, but
you've been around long enough, Toss. Though Arch, when did Arch start? Around 2002. Ubuntu came out around 2004.
Probably, yeah.
So Arch has been around forever, but really in the last 5 years, Arch's popularity has blown up.
Yeah.
5 years ago, you didn't have all these Arch-based distros.
No.
10 years ago, when I first started, there were no Arch-based distros. You only really had one. Archbang was around then, which was kind of an easier way to get into Arch, but it wasn't great. But now you'd have 100,
Well, I started with Linux in 06. The two most pervasive were Debian based and what's the other one? I can't think of it. I started off with Ubuntu. So, welcome, Timo.
Fedora were the two that I knew back then.
Probably Fedora if you're doing a desktop.
Yeah, that's why I thought Ubuntu would be great for a national desktop because of the Debian packages, and Ubuntu made it easier and all that. And there's how many, like 30,000 pieces of software, something like that. I don't think all of them are all good, but to me a national distro would be anything that works. It could be Arch. I'm cool with that. Timo, how you been? I know family issues. Okay, all right, Tim.
I think if you're going to make a particular distro for a particular piece of hardware that you've designed, I think actually Arch would be the way to go because you can build it for that hardware.
Yeah.
Rather than getting a distro that has all the hardware stuff already caked in it.
Yeah.
Has Arch always been rolling? Has it just never?
As far as I know.
Yeah, I think that's the way it started. Yeah, that's
Stan the Man said it took you only 9 attempts to get Arch installed the first time. That's pretty good, actually. Yeah.
It took me more than that the first time. Many headaches, many hair pulling.
Yeah.
But once I got it installed and I started getting used to it, I found other things to be easier than other distros. So that's kind of why I stuck with it.
These days, that Arch install, the only really tricky part sometimes is getting the networking working. If you're Wi-Fi on a laptop, for example, that can be tricky. But other than that, that's really the only thing that'll trip up most people.
Well, that's gotten easier over the years, and I think as long as you don't have a Broadcom chipset, you'll be good.
Oh, what about the updates being, the bleeding edge updates? How well does that hold up without trashing your system?
I've never permanently broken any of my installs with an update in the last year and a half or whatever, doing my channel and living on Arch-based systems. So never had one just completely wreck my machine or anything.
When I had Manjaro for that summer, I mean, I never really broke anything, but like little things kept, all right, that doesn't work, this doesn't work, update stopped. I was fixing too many things.
Yeah.
Because battery challenge. He says, just give us your honest opinion, and it was a full install on this machine. I said, no problem. And after a while, you know what? I can't do it. I had to stop. So.
Well, I will say sometimes you'll update a package and the newer version doesn't work, or there's something broken in it that you're used to. So you can roll back the package. But one thing I found is a lot of times the stuff that typically doesn't work is the stuff you find in the AUR, the stuff not in the main repository. These days with Snap, Flatpak, and App Image, if there's one of those available, I would install that rather than the AUR, because they automatically update. Snap packages automatically update. You never have to worry about them again. They should always work. So it's getting less of a problem.
I mean, with Manjaro, I found myself more time in the terminal that I wanted to be. I'm like, well, it's Arch base. Of course, you're going to be in the terminal. But I mean, after a while, it just wasn't for me. So I stopped. And it made sense because this channel still caters to the newbies out there, to all 1 billion of you. So anyway, I tried Arch base. It just wasn't for me. But I get it where those of you who start from scratch and go in the terminal and get your hands dirty, then customize it, make it yourself. I totally get it.
With me, I have problems with the Snap packages breaking. Like my VLC player broke and some other things broke. But if I remove the Snap packages with the Snap package manager, and then I install them with the command line, it actually puts them in the home directory, and they work flawlessly.
Okay.
This was given to me last night with Windows 7 on it and a virus. She didn't want it anymore. I fixed it a few times, and you see what's on it now.
Disco Dingo.
Ubuntu Studio. Yep.
Ubuntu Studio.
I actually put Mint on it first when I was at the house just to test some things, and then I came home and put this. I actually tried to put Sabian on this, and it wasn't having it. After trying Mate and XSCE versions of flavors of Sabian, I said, yeah, but so I put this on because I was curious what it was like.
Yeah.
I still got to give that a shot for the Biddle challenge.
Don't even bother. Everybody's having the same outcome.
Yeah, I hate I'm working tomorrow night. I told Rocco when he announced that it was going to be Sabian, I hate I'm not going to be there because I know you guys are going to trash Sabian. And I actually really like the distro. So unfortunately, I'll have to catch it on the replay. So
yeah, but you didn't. You had, it was what, 18 something or whatever the version was you did, or what was it back then?
I've actually still got Sabian. Since it's a rolling release, I've got it on one of my drives on my IC dock. It's actually in my other machine, but
it sounds like every one of us had the same thing. They couldn't get it installed.
No, this is probably a problem with their Calamares installer. They recently switched installers. They used to use Anaconda.
I love these names.
Which is a horrible
use either
installer.
the Calamari or the Anaconda Snake installer. Ooh, how friendly.
Well, I tell you what.
How about the Pepto-Bismol installer? It makes about as much sense as anything else for a name, I'm just saying,
I tell you what, I find the Gentoo wiki to be very easy to understand, very explanatory, and if it wasn't for the compile times, for the fact that I have to sit here for days on end waiting for software to compile in Gentoo, I could no joke run Gentoo vanilla as my main daily driver if it wasn't for those compile times.
On my old machine, it took an hour and a half for the kernel to compile.
Wow.
Or Gentoo. That's too long for one program. I mean, it's the kernel. It's big, but still, an hour and a half. I've got.
Derek, do you think the age of the computer could make a difference too? With Savvy?
Yeah, it could.
Okay, because I didn't try it on the new test laptop that I've got. This machine is like a 2010. So
Sabian rolling release Gentoo, it's very bleeding edge. It's gonna have the latest of everything, the absolute latest kernel, the latest systemd. They use systemd. So yeah, it might not like your older hardware.
Okay.
Let me give a quick update for those of you joining in late. There's nothing wrong with your monitor. I'm running. I had to crank down the bandwidth on this. It's yeah, really. This is a test with Linux Mint on a ThinkPad T60. Look, you can look it up. It had Windows XP. Yes, it did. We are doing this. I know it's not as smooth, but just 2 gigs of RAM.
Not bad.
So that is the potential power of Linux, as I always say. It's something I don't recommend. I probably wouldn't do this every week, but just to show you guys that it can be done, that you can resurrect an old machine with Linux, such as Linux Mint or something light like Ubuntu or whatever, Peppermint. And it does work. I mean, it's not 4K video, obviously, with 2 gigs of RAM, but it works. So that's what you're looking at and watching. If you hear static, that's on my end. My 2 squirrels in this dual core are, choking, but
that's okay. I don't have 4K eyeballs.
Yeah.
I bet the MX would do really good on that machine.
Well, I started noticing that YouTube is starting to actually distribute 4K videos for content creators that are uploading the 4K content.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to me, I don't have a 4K monitor. My CPU works twice as hard to downgrade the video so I can watch it.
If you have the proper equipment, and I stress proper, Marquise Brownlee, he's got like a gazillion subscribers. He did a little tour of his stuff. He's probably got a couple $100,000 worth of equipment. Wow. But he look, when he does 4K or 8K, but he's got the equipment to show. It does look beautiful. It looks Hollywood production.
And when he's got
the equipment,
When he did that tour of his studio, that was the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like he had a robotic arm controlling a $50,000.
I figured he did.
Yeah, I mean he's
just, I figured he did. Yeah, he uses red cameras. I think they're called red. I think the
digital
one
red
is 20,000. Yeah.
He's got 2 $50,000 cameras in that room.
Yeah.
Among other cameras, but he had 2 that cost $50,000.
Yeah. He usually but no, his videos they are polished. Well, I would hope with that kind of a budget. And here's little us going.
Well, he's got a professional, crew. I mean, that filming him. That's why he can get interviews with Elon Musk and Satya Nadella and all that.
Right.
I don't think they'll sit down with you or me, Toss.
Your video looks like
unless they felt sorry for us. Oh, poor little Toss. You want to talk to us? Hey, pal, right here, pal. No, just kidding. They won't talk to us. No.
They don't like Linux users.
No,
unless I call Uncle
Microsoft
Guido.
loves Linux.
Unless
The caddy trunk scares them.
That's right. Unless I say, hey, Elon Musk, I have an Uncle Guido in Sicily. Let's talk. Let's be reasonable. Do an interview with me,
And the Tesla does run Linux, so.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So
that's what we're doing tonight.
Sorry. Yeah, the Tesla's running Linux all the way to Mars.
Did you guys check out some of the new Linus Tech Tip videos in the last week dealing with Linux? Those were shockingly good.
Yes, I did see one. And the big guy that does most of the talking, he really knows what he's talking about.
So a lot of people have been trashing Linus because he doesn't really know what he's talking about when he does Linux videos. He's done some that were shockingly bad. And I guess he's heard those criticisms. I mean, they run Linux servers at Linus Tech Tips. I mean, they have a studio and somebody is administering those Linux servers. I'm assuming it's that big guy that's now on the video.
Yeah, they pulled him out of the server room to actually do the Linux videos.
Because he really knows his stuff. He's a sharp fellow.
He likes Manjaro too.
Yeah, well, he's smart.
Well, I like the hack that they did on the Apple and stuff like that.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and somebody had commented in the Telegram group. They said, "Well, I don't really see why would you even bother when there's just run Linux." It says you're missing the point. The idea is that to see that you can.
Yeah, I would do it as a project, but I would never install a superior operating system and then run a inferior OS on top of it like that.
Right.
Because they're going to unplug the monitor from the Manjaro machine and they're just going to run the Mac OS VM, and it's like no.
Well, and did you see Wendell also put out a video today too, or was it today or yesterday? I think with talking about an update to Linux gaming.
I haven't seen that one yet.
He was talking about Manjaro and I think Ubuntu, and I don't remember what the other one was now, but and just kind of talking about where it's at now with Steam and stuff like that. So I mean, there's getting to be a lot more positive move forward type support for this, in the direction it's taking, and how the games themselves, have grown exponentially as far as what's being available.
Well, I was really critical of Linus Tech Tips in particular, and I love that they've made these videos the last week, because that guy, he has like 8 million subscribers. When he makes a video, he's going to get like tens of millions of eyeballs on something. Yep. And when he does positive coverage, Linux just blows up. Like, I guarantee you that video they did where they were talking about Manjaro and Pop! OS, the Manjaro and Pop! OS servers blew up that day from all the tens of thousands of people that, hey, I'm going to try out this new Linux thing. So,
well, and he actually did a live feed today, and I watched a brief portion of it, and he was talking about basically his business, and the video. He'll take you in the back end of his YouTube, whatever that is, the back end of it, showing, all the different videos. He was talking about the captioning and why he did, maybe, they talked about clickbait, and he was talking about the analytics of all. It was so interesting, talking about the analytics of all of this stuff, and basically how they try to identify, is this really going in the wrong direction, where we're getting a dip from it. And the one that he talked about, was, again, the recent one with the hack. But because he said, if we just turn around and did something about, Apple, doesn't run Linux or whatever, he's something more generic. He said, we probably wouldn't have gotten the views.
Yeah.
That
exactly.
Apple isn't going to like this kind of a thing. And then he says, we put a hyphen and then we'll put our caption alongside of that too. And it all made sense. It's to kind of get you the interest to want to look at it.
Right.
I don't consider it clickbaity. I consider it something to drive the interest in what they're talking.
Well, think about it.
That Mac video that they did with that guy, that thing's on 1.1 million views.
Right. And you know why that many people have watched it? Because they're installing the Mac OS on Linux. Not because they're doing Linux. It's because many more people are interested in the Mac OS and running Hackintosh, for example, than running Linux, unfortunately.
But you know what, though? There's a lot of truth to what you just said. But at the same token, it's still Linux exposure. It's still the idea that they couldn't do it without Linux as the base system there, and all the different, modifications and, registry thing, whatever they had to do to make it work.
Well, I'm hoping they ease people in to where he's eventually doing videos really about Linux and not Linux and Mac or Linux and Windows,
Oh no, he's also collabing with Wendell too about Linux gaming and how it's improving and some of the things and I think he's being smart because, like you said, is Linux isn't necessarily his strong point, but he's probably learning right along with them. But he's bringing people in who know, and that's a smart way. If you don't know something, you surround yourself with the people that do, and I think that's excellent that he's doing it that way. So it's, if nothing else, none of this is going to hurt Linux. I don't believe.
And while we've been chatting the last couple minutes, Toss dropped out. I'm assuming he was going to try to jump back in. I don't know.
Yeah,
this will run 15 minutes. Yeah, if this,
I don't see him.
The stream is going. I'm previewing the stream.
Yeah, it still says it's live.
it'll stay live. He's got 15 minutes before it drops out.
Yeah. So
that I know from past
Well, the last problem you had with Hangouts, it stayed on for the entire afternoon, and people were still typing in the chat box.
Yeah.
This was for like 3 hours.
Yeah, that was where something locked up and stayed in the online mode. This is the opposite. The system keeps dropping. So
well, he was pegging that CPU at 100% for the last hour and 10 minutes. So it's possible he may not make it back. So
it's in the freezer.
Does he have so he's not on his regular system?
No. He bought a old 2006 ThinkPad with a Celeron processor and 2 gigs of RAM that he's been trying to do the stream on. So he's back though.
Yeah.
Yeah, my system froze, which I kind of figured, sooner or later.
The regular system.
Yeah. I kind of figured.
Right. We just went with it. So
yeah, that's cool. I mean, you know what? I'm impressed. I mean, my goal was to not go past the hour to be safe, but we had new people coming in. I feel bad cutting it off, but I'm impressed. It just had 2 squirrels in it, so running it. So
your picture is sharper than normal. Did you downgrade it?
Say again?
Your picture is nicer than normal. Yeah.
Well, I'm on the other computer.
Oh, okay.
That's why. Yeah, I'm on the quad core. Yeah. So that's what happened. But overall, I can't complain. It lasted over an hour. Those 2 squirrels are probably going to bed now.
I think you did better on that one that was 700 something meg that time.
yeah. But see, that one I didn't have a camera, so it didn't freeze.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have the camera because I didn't want to chance it. So.
And how big is this one?
Say again, Switch.
How big is this computer? What is it?
Oh, this computer this is a gateway. This has an AMD A6 with 6 gigs.
Okay.
But it's still outdated, but it's miles ahead of the ThinkPad, which had Windows XP in it. So I'm just getting the chat here situated so I can. Okay. Yeah, this is my normal machine, the one I've had for years that works fine. So, the other one froze. So that ThinkPad is, that ThinkPad can rest. I think I've tortured it enough. So.
was it warm to the touch?
Oh yeah. I think the fact that I plugged it in, I think I overheated it. I think that's what happened. Yeah,
that happened with my Surface once. I was outside writing and it just stopped.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, I'm out of here, pal. But that's what it said. So anyway, but you know what? It lasted over an hour. But once I plugged in the AC power supply, I think that did it. So.
Which
anyway,
when you were gone, as we were talking about Linus Tech Tips in his Linux videos, and like Derek raised an excellent point that it's not necessarily Linus's strong point. So he's kind of bringing in people now that are very versed on it, and then he's collabing with people like Wendell as well, and even like we were talking about that Apple project he just did recently with running Mac OS on top of Linux. I said none of that's going to hurt Linux because the idea is you needed Linux to get it to that point. So to me, anything that's a positive forward motion that involves Linux.
Yeah.
And the best part is like you said, here's what'd you say, Derek? He's got 8 million followers, and if he's getting 1 million something views in a day already, that's pretty darn good.
I mean, if a couple of thousand people know about Manjaro and went and downloaded it because of that video, that's a good thing.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where if Windows users have the time to learn and tinker and be patient like I did over the course of so many years, that's fine. But if they don't, because they got kids, they just got married, having a baby on the way, they work multiple jobs, and they download any random distro, and they don't take the time to get the info before, then it crashes or it doesn't install, and they say, well, Linux sucks. Well, some Linux sucks, but it sucks for newbies if you download an Arch or Gentoo. Not that Arch sucks, as an example. That's why I wanted a national desktop. We have a national Chromebook, Linux, and that's fine. Just so mom and pop, again, we've talked about this, they can walk into the store because they don't have time to tinker. They got some cash to spend, $400 or $500. buy the Ubuntu machine or the Arch machine. To me, it doesn't matter as long as it works. I say Ubuntu because that was my first. They can take it home. They know it's been pre-debugged, pre-tested, as I'm assuming Chromebooks are tested. They can feel confident that as long as they get the right information, that the machine is going to work, and they don't have to worry about trying to go into the terminal to solve a problem. And that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. But until we have that, and I don't see it, nothing on the horizon. Nothing.
If it makes you feel any better, Toss, there's some colleges around here that actually run on Canonical products, and the students use Ubuntu to actually learn how to do programming, learn the terminal, and all kinds of stuff like that.
But that's students who are there for a reason because they have the time. Mom and Pop don't have the time to learn Arch or Gen 2 or something new.
Well, what I'll say is that, like, when it comes to like the rolling releases, it's like, I've come to appreciate it because I don't have to reinstall it every 6 months and whatever, wipe my drive. But the only breakages that I find is with like pen testing software. Stuff that's like obscure, like it's always broken anyway. And so, like, what's the average user going to be using from the AUR? Just Google Chrome, simple stuff that's very well maintained, even though it's in the AUR. And so, like, I think that the average user, for the most part, will be, fine on something like Manjaro or something.
I wanted to ask. I think it was King of Base for the super chat. Thank you again. What Linux do you use? I didn't mean to ignore you, King. For those of you joining in late, I was testing this stream on my former Windows XP. On my ThinkPad T60 with just 2 gigs of RAM, and I think it just overheated and froze Centrino Duo. But it ran over an hour, and I was impressed. So that's why I disappeared for a little bit. So for those of you coming in late, it was an experiment just to show Windows user the potential power of Linux. What I did on that low-spec machine, I do not recommend, unless you're going to, have fun with it, and test it. But King of Base, what Linux do you use? Are you still with us? I hope you are. And welcome everybody else who's new.
Some of the highlights when you left. Welcome back to your show, Toss.
Yes.
And Gnostic says someone shoved you in your own trunk.
I know. Luckily, I have a spare key.
And somebody said, oh yeah, the laptop Skybearer, the laptop's so hot you can iron laundry. So I think you just stopped to do your laundry for about 15 minutes, right?
I know. It's I unplugged it. Where did I stick it at? Anyway, I got the 19-inch monitor here
between the lid and the top.
Yeah. Here it is. It's right here. Let me see. Let me go ahead and feel this. It's hot. It's definitely hot. Anyway, this is the machine. So, if I could open this up. It's got the metal hinges on it, which is awesome. You see the metal here, the hinges? These are awesome.
Yeah.
Right here, it cracked. I put black tape. I dropped this like twice from my bed, but there it is. I can't complain, It's a clean machine.
That's an oldie.
Big old IBM on the lid.
ThinkPad T60, Windows XP. It has Linux Mint, Mate. Again, this only holds a maximum of 3 gigs of RAM. Probably if you had 3 gigs, maybe it would not have froze. I don't know. But the fact that after I plugged it in, it got hot and it said, forget about it. And that's what I think happened. So, but you know what? This thing's 13 years old. It's in pretty good shape. So,
I wish I could take a keyboard like that and swap my ThinkPad's keyboard out for one of the older ones.
Yeah, them are really nice.
Yeah.
Because I need the specs of this machine, but so I tolerate this keyboard, but I wish I didn't have to.
Stand man, you have a T60 now, really? A 1060p? No kidding. You have good taste. Anyway, King of Base, are you still with us?
I haven't seen him pop back. There he is.
Yeah. Antergos with KDE Plasma.
He's using Antergos.
Wow. Nice. Okay.
Another Arch base.
Wow. We have the Arch show tonight.
I'm actually on Arch right now too. So.
Are you really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm still running Arch Labs. Serge keeps on wanting me to wipe it and put calculator on it. It's like, I am so busy right now. I would love to. I just don't have time.
Fair enough.
I might do this weekend though.
You mean as well.
Yeah. And I want to put it because this is the machine. I should have distro hopped on this one a while back. This is the machine for distro hopping. I think the real reason I haven't gotten to it yet is because it's the only distro I would put on this for a while that I can't install it on the other computer on the IC dock and just throw the drive over here.
Gentoo based distros like Calculate are good if you don't really care for working Xorg and you like kernel panics every now and then. So I just warned you.
And I like Xorg, and I'm not a big fan of kernel panics.
Yeah.
Well, those things make life so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I get them occasionally on my main system, but this one here, the problem is because it's Gentoo, I literally have to install it on the machine it's going to live on, and that actually means I have to pull the machine out, I have to disconnect everything, I have to pull all the wires, I have to pull all the drives, so nothing else gets messed up on it, and it's too much of a pain. So,
I installed Calculate on my main machine early in 2018, and I ran it for about a week and a half, and then I woke up one day after an update and black screen. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
DT, does your new machine run quiet?
Very quiet.
Okay. That's what I like. This one, even though it's out there, I can't hear it. I mean, there are times like, my fan break, I have to do this. Can I,
Well, DT's is liquid cooled.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that helps. Also, nothing really is going to tax the CPU to where, the fans start cranking up, like it's a jet engine.
So, Derek, how does that run on Jack Daniels?
So it's liquid cooled. Do you occasionally have to flush the antifreeze in it to keep it fresh?
All of these liquid coolers these days are self-contained. There's no maintenance involved in them.
Okay.
The
liquid's got anti-corrosive stuff in it like antifreeze does.
Yeah, well, speaking of liquid cool, did you see, and Linus Tech Tips, did you see the one that he did? Was it him that they're concrete? He actually put concrete in the system to see if it would work. And it actually cooled better than regular liquid. Of course, the next day, you know what happened to the parts. Oh, my God, the stuff he does.
All right. If we have any new people joining in late, welcome to this community. Say hello.
I'll tell you this. Being on Arch, the last time I had a kernel panic was when the kernel updated before the Broadcom drivers updated. And there was a Broadcom chipset crashed the kernel. Once I removed those, it worked just fine. Ever since I stopped buying machines with Broadcom chipsets, I have not had a kernel panic at all. Kernel updates all the time on Arch, and I haven't had an issue.
Jessica says you have a Core Duo with the GTX 1050 Ti 4 gig. Yeah, I was looking at a refurbished Dell with the GeForce 1060. I look it up, and that would do 1080p rendering really easy. That was what I was looking at. But the Core Duo though, that's still older processor.
Yeah, it wouldn't do you any good to add an external graphics card in that machine because the CPU is just no good.
Right.
So you'd be wasting your money.
No, the one I was looking at was a Core i7. I forget which generation. So.
All right, guys, I need to hop off.
Okay, DT.
All right.
All
right. Happy Easter. If I don't see you guys.
Happy Easter.
Yeah. It's good talking with you.
Yeah.
All right.
See you.
All right, Joe.
Happy Easter, man.
All right, Tom.
Take care. Yeah.
Don't work good.
Have a good night.
Good night.
No, Ricky asked for a link if you're going to be on for a little while.
Yeah, I did send it. Yeah, I'll stick around for a little bit longer. I did send it, Ricky. Yeah, sorry. It crashed. My thing crashed when
Your Think crashed.
My Think crashed. My Thinkpad crashed. Well, it froze. It didn't. Well, I guess you could say it crashed.
Do you think?
Yes, it definitely thought it was done. I mean, I could hear it. Those squirrels. No, but.
Speaking of freeze, I need to go start a batch of ice cream. I'll be right back.
All right.
Well, I tell you what, ThinkPads
That's not the food, of course.
Yeah.
I tell you what, this ThinkPad is amazing for what I paid for it.
I'm telling you, man. Hey, look, newbies out there to Linux, buy yourself a ThinkPad as long as it has at least. Nowadays, you can get a ThinkPad with 8 gigs for $200, less than what I paid. Get one of those. Get a $20 SSD drive. Kingston. This is a 128 gig. It'll be plenty. And I'm telling you, you'd be surprised how fast that thing will rock. So, if you have the time to tinker. If you don't, then buy a Chromebook. They're about the same price. If you just want to buy it, plug it in, and go with the Chromebook. If you don't want to mess with possibly tinkering in the terminal, and I get it. You know, you're married, you got kids, whatever, you're working this and you don't have time, and you're not happy with Windows, trust me, try a Chromebook. You will not be disappointed.
The one thing I will say is if you're going to buy a ThinkPad and try Linux on it, watch out for the Nvidia Optimus. That stuff can be a nightmare in any distro.
Yeah, graphics drivers, see, that's where Linux in general still struggles without a standard. It's still multimedia.
It's okay.
It's not there yet.
Things that I think that they're working on or improving now. When I mentioned earlier about the new kernel having some of this stuff baked in, even for Nvidia, though, too.
Yes, I did see that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So they are working on all that stuff.
It's getting better. Yeah.
And it took me a few tries installing Arch on this system, and I hunted around the AUR and the pack looking for Nvidia. And I found this package called Optimus Manager.
Okay.
That's the only way I got it to work properly. And I haven't found it for any other distro, so I'm a little shaky about hopping on this one because I'm not convinced that other distros would function properly on it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm scared to try it.
you know yourself too. I mean, there's like Salient OS. If somebody wants to try something Arch-based that's really stable and really nice, and doesn't really have the knowledge or the ambition to do a from scratch install, that's a fantastic distro. It really is.
Yeah, and that comes with all your stuff for all your gaming that you'd want to do for older games.
And Manjaro's pretty good too because it's got the hardware detection, and it picked up my Nvidia right away. But I don't know. There's something about Vanilla Arch I just prefer.
Yeah. So.
Although if this ever broke and I was feeling lazy, I'd probably put Manjaro on it.
Yeah. And that would be a good choice. I mean, especially for what you like anyway, so
yeah.
It's a good fit.
Again, if we have any new people stopping by late, please do stop by and say, I know we had a couple people pop in tonight. Lars and King of Base, thank you for stopping in. And once again, Lars, or King of Base, thank you for the super chat. Checking other emails here. All right, nothing there. So if you are new and are here and are wondering what to use, once again, to me, Ubuntu Mate rocks. It just works. So lightweight, and it does what it's supposed to do. So.
Getting lighter all the time, too.
I've probably used mine more than Carmine uses his, and mine's been rock solid since October.
Yeah.
I know you could tweak it, and I love my Mate too, but at the same token, I really wish they would, and I know there's a lot of work involved to do that, but I really wish they would refresh the theme. The theme just seems outdated.
You can customize. Yeah, I'm not into it that much. I mean, I understand. Yeah.
It'd be that, and see, that's what I really think I'm enjoying a lot about Mint with what they did with this last release. I mean, it just seems so clean and polished. But Mate, man, you're right, Carm. You can't beat that either. And so far, knock on wood, I've done some tweaking to this or whatever, and I haven't had any kind of a freeze lately on this one. Although my workstation the other day was giving me a lot of headaches, but I was playing with the kernels, and I did back that one off back to the supported. I think it was 4.15. They actually have a 4.18 that's supported only until August. The other one's till 2023. This one, I think I'm running the 5.8, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check.
Steve, if you want to join, I just send the link. I feel more comfortable being on the normal machine to get more people on. So
well, I'm going to have to hop off right now.
Okay, Dan.
You're heading out, Dan?
Yeah, I'm heading out.
Well, if we don't see you, happy Easter, my man.
Yeah, happy Easter.
Yeah, I need to take my evening medicine and settle down for the night.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Thanks for having me on.
Anytime. Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, I'll stick around a little bit longer, Steve. So if you want to jump on, go ahead. Like I said, I'm on the faster machine, so I'm not on my. I'm not doing this.
It says that Ricky joined, but all I see is an empty chair. Is he a ghost?
Oh, he stepped away for a second.
Well, he's using Ghost BSD.
There you go.
Carm, you relate to this. Let's go to food for a second. My family went down to Chicago. I was supposed to go today, and I wound up staying home and dog sitting, and they had to pick up my tractor. Well, they brought back some of the stuff I requested: Napoleons, pasta chots, cannolis. They brought back some of the good lunch meats for and the pasta. So
nice.
We're gonna,
of course,
the Italian thing, right?
Hey, the Italian thing. Hey.
Yeah.
But
well, I got chocolate ice cream brewing. That's my food news,
Oh, wow.
Evening, gentlemen.
There he is.
Hi, Ricky. Boo. Tom, were you on fire tonight?
No, not really. I've been trying to cut the fire screen back just a little bit here and there.
Because somebody says your stream was so depressing tonight. He had to
well, I mean, Microsoft issues, Facebook issues. I mean, what do you want?
Microsoft issues. Do you have a? How much time do you have?
I mean, I went with the super abridged version.
All I gotta say about Facebook, Tom, is if they have any ounce of dignity left, just eject Mark from the company, get somebody else to drive the helm, clean the company up, and maybe then something will change.
But I wouldn't hold my breath.
I think they should let the Russians run it. Because they'll be more. We are here to take all your data, and we're being honest.
Yeah.
At least to be honest, we will monitor everything, comrades.
Be KGB OS.
Yes.
Yeah, but they don't have enough. They don't have enough people even in their population to have somebody standing outside every computer like they do when you go to visit. They have somebody standing behind you.
It's a whole different culture there in Russia. Stephanie says. She was saying on one of the chats that we did, News and Nonsense, but she was on tour. She'd be on a Russian bus, her and her friends, and there'll be an interpreter there, So they kind of like to stretch the truth. Russia stretcher too. So she asked the interpreter, asked the driver how much longer to their next tour destination. 20 minutes. Give more or less 20 minutes. So she's like, 4 hours later, could you ask the driver? But that's how they are. They like to be nice, but they can't seem to be
honest,
factual.
Yeah,
so she was like 20 minutes. The way she did it was for 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, so let me see, 20 times 10. Okay, that's about right. So I say, like if I was there, the New York Italian wouldn't work. I mean, I would go to the driver. Hey, pal, I don't speak Russian. Okay, how long is it gonna bleep and take?
They're rushing to get there though.
They're not rushing to get 20 minutes. I'm like,
I'll tell you what.
So multiply by a factor of 10, and then
Tell you what, the last time I visited Boston, it took me 3 hours just to get out of Boston.
I know. I've never been there.
So congested. It's terrible.
Yeah, I've seen it on the news. It's bad. I think she's fairly close to Cape Cod. I think like an hour, less than an hour away. But Cape Cod is beautiful in the summer.
Yeah.
But
so you tortured that poor little Thinkpad, but at least you got the results out of it.
It got running, and I didn't want to go more than an hour to be safe, but I had new people coming in. I hate to say, sorry, got to jump off. So, but I think what happened is, once I plugged it in and they got hotter, those squirrels just went, So, yeah. Anyway, but it worked. I proved that it can be done.
It's interesting you're talking about temps because I took my 1050, which is a newer card, but it's a mini, so it's a single fan, which logically it's going to run a little warmer. Even when I was gaming, would get up to maybe 56 Celsius. This thing, I put my old 760 back in here until my 590 gets here. And I was gaming with Derek the other day, and this never cracked 50. And right now, even with the stream open, I'm at 44. The machine has been a rock solid 34. The other day when I came back in, and it was just at idle, I turned on. This machine idles at 29 Celsius. I mean, it's a really cool, cold running, and it's an AMD, But I do have to admit, I've got a Noctua cooler on it, the aftermarket cooler. So I know the AMD cooler does a great job as it is. But the aftermarket's doing even better. Plus, I've got 2 other Noctua fans in there to help move some air, and it's an more open case. But man, it's unbelievable how well. So that's why I was saying, Carm, if you decide to look at a newer machine too, Intel as an option is a great option, but you might save a little money, especially if you decide to go down on a brand new route. I don't know if you'll do that.
The machines that I've been looking at, the refurbished Dell's Optiplex, I think they're called. They're really not bad deal for what they offer. The one I was looking at was about 600 Core i7, 16 gigs. It has that GTX 1060. So I looked it up. And it'll do 1080p. It might even do 4P, but I probably could use more RAM if I was. I mean, like 4K rather. But it will do 1080p. So I looked it up, and it's refurbished with the warranty. It didn't seem like a bad Core i7. I forget which generation, but
and a 1060 is somewhat comparable to the 580. Okay. The 580 actually still, if from a benchmark standpoint, for the most part, will slightly edge out at 1060. So you're in the same ballpark with something like that, and that's a good card. A 1060 is a good card.
What I read, someone on you, there was a couple YouTubers did it and looked at it. I think it's got the 2 fans in it.
Yes,
I can't remember. Okay,
and they'll keep it cooler too. You don't necessarily got to go 3 fans because then you're getting. And that's the one thing about the AMD cards right now. Some of them are. At least like the RX series, they're power hogs a little bit, but it's all relevant. Like the one that I've got coming now, it's got like the reason it takes 2.5 slots because the actual cooler inside, the thermal protection is thicker. And there is a much thicker cooling structure. So. And it takes bigger power. The interesting thing is, I get techie a little bit here, but I've got a 4 terabyte drive in there. Western Digital has threads I've seen that say they have a habit of sometimes just showing intermittent random activity for some reason, and it used to drive me nuts. Whatever every so often, and it's been doing it again lately since I put it back in this machine. And I said, well, what did I do different? Well, I put my 650 power supply back in here because I have both Corsair. So I didn't actually have to recable everything. It was just one cable I had in order for the extra pins on the GPU. And the 760, I had just heard the drive now. It just goes very quietly, but it's still there. So I'm starting to wonder if it isn't a power supply thing too, because there's a lot of factors in these things that everything has to really play nice. And the other thing too is, remember I sent you that site on bottlenecking? There are a lot of people that I've been reading since I sent that in the stream the other night that it's a good reference guide, but it's not necessarily conclusive. And there's always going to be some level of potential bottlenecking. The idea is to try to keep it as reduced as possible. And Optiplexes are fantastic systems to start out with.
That's what I've been reading. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole ton out there on Amazon. Yeah, a whole ton. Yeah.
They're not huge on gaming, but they're great. They're still, you can still do decent gaming on them and stuff. But
the one I looked at said a gaming Dell, but it was redone. It was refurbished and redone. I'm assuming a bigger power supply they added the card and more RAM to make it a gaming computer, as it were.
But it'll do great. It'll do great for what you're doing here with your streams and stuff like that.
That's the impression that I got. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's a workstation.
Yes. Right.
I'm gonna say one thing. Gnome 3.32. I've seen reviews on it. It has solved so many of Gnome's problems.
They're getting better and better.
I hate the fact that the desktop icons are still just dying. And really problematic.
When I saw those desktop icons, Tom, it reminded me so much of iOS 7. Just another unicorn mess.
I don't that's not what I'm talking about. The themes can be changed. What I'm talking about is the fact that the desktop, that it has desktop icons on Ubuntu, but not that's something Ubuntu did separate. Well, what the problem with Gnome is they're killing desktop icons altogether, and it's problematic.
Yeah, I agree.
Completely
you can't drag folders from the file method device unless you do an extension. It's not something I normally do, so it's not. That's why I said if Ubuntu was a national, they would have to install some newbie friendly tweaks or extensions. You know what I mean? Like, try to think more of it. What would a newbie
or
do?
just use, I think that the user interface of Gnome is too difficult for a basic noob user. And
well,
so the better thing
you would need those extensions, right?
I wouldn't use it at all. Use Ubuntu Mate instead.
Yeah, that would work too. Mm-hmm.
Ubuntu Mate, I would say, is another option.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I was thinking more, okay, maybe Windows, you don't want something that looks so plain, even though it can be customized, whereas Ubuntu is more modern look. You know, to me, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever would work, you know.
What I don't understand is why don't they just leave the icons availability on the desktop and just have a radio button to toggle the stuff off?
I think that, you know what? I think with each release, they're tweaking, they're guessing what they want and this and that. I need to get Alan Pope back on the show.
I think from what I understand, that feature, from what I heard, the desktop icon features was being depreciated in the GNOME development, so they dropped it and left it up to the extension developers to do it. I mean,
I'm sure they got their reasons, but yeah, I mean, I installed 3 extensions in my test machine. Dash to panel, I like everything on the top, and a couple other ones, and it did not crash. It was stable. And you know what, for me, but see, I'm not a newbie anymore, so it's, you know, trying to put myself in the mind of a newbie as I keep it's harder and harder each year, it seems.
Well, you could do that with Mate's Mutiny too.
Yeah, yes, you can, and maybe Mate is a better, you know, candidate for a national Linux desktop.
Well, the beauty of Mate is you can literally click what desktop environment you want to have.
Yes, right.
And
it's all there.
A click of a button.
Right.
And it's that's the smartest thing I think I've seen in a long time.
I would have to agree.
And you know, it's funny. I agree with you.
With XFCE switch, you can do that with XFCE.
Yeah.
Set up all your desktops, and then use the XFCE switch to save and change it.
Yeah.
And they have a number of stuff, and that's a great thing for XFCE.
Yeah.
Well, I've gotten so used to having the panel at the top now that
the
Windows 10 that I've got on that workstation on the dual boot, I move that up there too now.
Yeah. Sure.
XFCE is one of the reasons why I still like Peppermint.
I mean, I think XFCE, Mate, they're very stable, they're very rock solid, very lightweight. But I also look at it from like the newbies perspective. I mean, they're going to look at it like, what, this looks like Windows 98, this looks like Windows XP, or you want something modern. But GNOME, I think, is too much for the new user. The extensions are constantly crashing. You know, they're not going to like that either.
Yeah.
So I think that a good happy medium is Cinnamon. It's flashy, but it's rock solid as well.
And you know, comparing Cinnamon to Gnome, Cinnamon is not even that heavy. It really isn't.
It's not as heavy as Gnome. I mean, it's still. I mean, I have it on my other ThinkPad with 3 gigs of RAM. Yeah. It's not. It still feels bloated, but obviously it's lighter than Gnome.
I mean, my favorite extension whenever I'm on Cinnamon, my favorite extension to put in there is a Windows 7 like menu that I replace the normal Cinnamon menu with, and I just open that new menu up. It's exactly like Windows 7, and it's very snappy and fast.
Well, but let's say Linux Mint Cinnamon on a quad core with 4 gigs of RAM. That would work.
Well, I've got Cinnamon on here. I've got it on the other machine too. And right now, with the stream going, I've got the actual YouTube, even though it's muted, that's running. I've got the chat going, popped out, and whatever other things I got running. I'm at barely 3 gigs right now. But when that's all shut down, this idles at around a gig.
Yeah.
When you think, and it's all relevant. That sounds like a lot, but I've got 16 gigs of RAM. It's the percentage of whatever the RAM is. So if you've got 4 gigs of RAM, it's probably going to run sub, gig. So you'll be in the megabyte area, whatever it is, 500-600 megabytes maybe. I don't know. I'm guessing because the other one in there's got 8 gigs. And I think it runs at around 6 something in there. So the truth of the matter is it depends on what you can. I don't think anybody can really judge on what it's running at, because your machine's going to be different than mine and everybody else's in here, because again, it depends on what you have running Like I've got Dropbox that starts up automatically. I got Wake that starts up, the terminal manager. I've got I've got P sensor. So I've got all these other processes that I run at startup. You may not have that. So what I'm showing now, if I shut all those things down, chances are those numbers are still going to drop even more. So it's all relevant.
I think it's like the RAM, the amount of RAM you need really kicks into play. Like what, for example, like what I did tonight. 2 gigs of RAM was stretching it. If I had 3 or more, probably would not have had the problem. So it depends what obviously if you're doing 1080p or 4K video, you need lots of RAM. So again, it's all relative. What are you doing?
Well, I think in your case, though, Carm, you had a Celeron processor in there too.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of what was stressing it.
That too, yes.
Yeah, because if you had a nice Pentium in there, even with 2 gigs of RAM, it would have done better.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, it's not that hard to get even 8 gigs of RAM today.
No,
like that's becoming pretty much the standard on the $400, $300 machines that I've seen.
Yeah. And I almost bought one because I had the budget for that. I was like, but that's not really much of an impression. I'm just gonna wait. I came close. It was another Dell, 8 gigs, a Core i5. I think it even had a video card. I forget which one. It was an AMD. But I thought that's not much more what I have. So I'm just gonna wait. So I didn't go there.
Well, I think Mate. If you had to pick a choice, I'd rather see Mate or Mint, one of the two.
Yeah.
You stick Mate. The reason why I would tend to, if you were going to do the national standard, lean even toward more toward Mate, is again because it's the one click to change over to desktop environment. It tends to run newer or more later kernels and things like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't always necessarily make a great thing, but I think in this case, Cinnamon still, when you talk about new users, it's the problem with Gnome is the first thing people are going to do is get on there. And I had this years ago when I sold somebody a Unity, a new computer. I put Unity on for them, and they're going, well, how do I find it? It's just everybody's so used to looking for the start button for the menu.
But I also think that most people, if they use Windows their whole life, right, then they go to the Apple Store and sit on a Mac. They know how to get to Safari. They know how to get online. It's like a different interface. They might not know everything about the system, but they can manage. And so, I don't think that the interface is going to be that much of an issue as long as it works. But it has to work.
Well, I kind of disagree a little bit there, and the only reason I say it is I agree with what you're saying. But those are people that are still going to be a little bit more on the somewhat technical side. You get the average person that walks into a store and looks at something. They're looking for a certain type of layout, a certain type of workflow function. And they're going to look at a Mac cross-site if they've been used to Windows already. Now, again, what you're talking about is somebody that's still got a little bit of tech savvy, I think, or the ability to kind of flow over.
Right.
And this comes down to willingness too. I mean, if you're not willing to take the time to learn,
I think if he had an associate there or a presenter showing it to the mom and dad, this is how, say it was Ubuntu with Gnome, stock Gnome with a couple extensions. We'll just show them how to do it. It's not that it's difficult, but I would agree Mate would be easier starting off.
I mean, the reason why I like Mate so much is it's pretty much the Swiss Army knife of Linux, because for a Windows user, they could put it to the Windows user environment. For a Mac user, they can put it to the Mac user. It's the Swiss Army knife of Linux.
It just works.
It just works. It can't get any better than that.
Yeah. I'm going to wrap this up, shut this down about 10 minutes, just to let everybody know. For those of you who joined in late, I was testing this on a ThinkPad with 2 gigs of RAM until the 2 squirrels died from overheating. But I'm on my other desk. They just collapsed from exhaustion. No, but you know what? I'll give Linux credit. It lasted over an hour. It did what it's supposed to do. So again, if you're new watching, I will be on another 10 minutes. Stop in, say hello. If you have any questions, please do ask. If you're a newbie, that's what this channel is here for. But I am no longer on the ThinkPad. That is cooling off. So but it did what it's supposed to do. So that's the power of Linux. So there you go.
Yep, and you're now back on good old Mate.
Yes, I am.
The other thing that'd be interesting to see you test on there, Karen, would be either Peppermint or like MX on that machine and see if it does.
Oh,
Peppermint too. I'll tell you, that's
definitely lighter. Yeah.
System. I have a friend. I've known him since 3 years old. I think I told you that story. He had a little netbook. The hard drive was bad. I put a new drive in. He wanted to just give it to me or throw it away, and I said no. So I put an extra gig of RAM in it because it would only take 2 gigs.
Yeah.
And I put Peppermint on it. He absolutely loves it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would be
Peppermint's going to be lighter. Even the new Ubuntu with the LXQT, I know is going to be lighter.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see you try one of those on there and see if
I might one day. Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm so used to running Ubuntu Linux, man. But you know what? It was supposed to. Like I said, the problem started, I think, after I plugged it in, and the heating problem. So but.
What I like about Mate is it looks like what Ubuntu looked like when I first started using it.
Yeah, and I rest my case.
It's very nostalgic for me. Like I log in, like, wow, this brings back memories for me.
Yeah, you feel right. You do feel
well,
right.
It's not a shock to the system. Like, what the heck is it? It's right there. So there's something to be said for stability. It's like buying a used car or even a new car. And the tire's not going to fall off. It's stable. So
Because I started it back in Ubuntu 10.04 when it was Gnome 2. Like I liked it then because it was stable and like the things you could do with compies with that to theme it up. Oh my gosh, the cubes, it was incredible. And then the second that they upgraded to Unity, all that stuff broke on me. That's why I stopped using it.
Commodore 64 says, Commodore Fan says, I work with a nonprofit for seniors. He switched them all over to Manjaro for seniors. Oh my God. Okay.
Switched them over to Manjaro Deepen. Wow. Oh boy.
Okay. This is Sunny Boy the Thinkpad. No, but
well, they're deep into that one, man.
I'm rolling with joy.
What's this terminal?
I have Deepen on this Arch machine here. I haven't booted into it for a while. Maybe I should do that.
Okay.
Back in Deepen for a while.
Wow.
I have no
you had trouble with
seniors and Arch based. I don't know about that. This is
well,
Sunny Boy.
it makes sense. It makes sense, right? They are walking with an arch, right?
It's the Do's and Nonsense show, late show, but no. I'm not watching. I get some email. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I love all humans, even if they use Arch.
I'm rolling on the floor laughing.
Right along with your release.
Yeah. So Joe, you had problems with Sabian?
Well, in fairness, I just got this laptop from a lady last night. She gave it to me, and it's a 2010. It's got an i3 in it. It's got 4 gigs of RAM, so I thought, well, maybe that should do all right. But I might just see if it'll load up on the Dell that I've got in the other room that's only about a year old and see if there's a difference. But yeah, I had 2 flavors that just wouldn't load.
Mm-hmm. I did XFCE, and it's on my HP 8440. It's got 4 cores. It's an i7, 4 gigs of RAM, and it was one of the better installs I had recently of the ones I've installed.
So how new is the machine?
It's an 8440. It's a 2010, 2012.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's about 9 years old.
And the XFCE said it did the install, but then when I went to boot, it wouldn't boot.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened.
I'm always afraid because that one's got the Nvidia card on it. But in fact, I had to go to my Peppermint laptop because Firefox doesn't, you can't get the Google Hangouts with Firefox, and I had time to install Chrome on it yet. But so far, it's set up different. But
what version of Firefox are you running? I don't have any problems with Firefox on Hangouts.
Well, I don't know what version was on there. I just when I clicked on Toss's link, it said this browser can't support Hangouts.
It won't do Hangouts, right? Yeah.
That's very strange. I mean, didn't Firefox used to have Hangout support?
I don't know.
I use Hangouts on my Thursday night streams on Firefox.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I can't use it now.
Waterfox does not, so it might be something in the about config.
Yeah, I'm in 66 here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Firefox for me in Linux runs too slow anyway. It's pathetic.
Yeah, well, I was at one point.
It's bad.
My system lags out if I use Chromium on Hangouts on.
It's weird.
On the Thursday stream.
So it's just the opposite, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have.
Yeah, on my machines it's pitiful. 3 HD
cameras, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, Hangouts is going out this year, Commodore fan. Yeah, they're going to put something else in there. So yeah.
Hopefully a new free service will replace it, and not a subscription-based service. That would just.
They're wrapping what is Hangouts into the G Apps suite, so I think it might be subscription based.
Oh, goody!
But
Duo, it might be Duo
options.
Commodore, yeah.
I mean, the thing is, if it is subscription based, I mean, there are other options to do these things out there. I mean, you got all those web-based conference things. You got Zoom. There's plenty of options.
But Zoom's still limited too. The 40-minute. And usually only 4 people on the free one and stuff like that. So there's limitations on most of them.
I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be a freebie thing for Google to replace Hangouts if I had to guess, because it's so popular. It just works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Windows, Linux, it just works. So,
I mean, the thing is, Hangouts is used by so many people. I mean, if they were to do a subscription-based thing, they would just get a huge backlash back from it.
Killing G+, that's no big deal because nobody wanted it anyway.
No,
but
I mean,
it worked,
but
it worked, but look at the social network competition right now. Facebook is literally killing it.
Well,
gotta go to MeWe.
Nice too, but that only runs, I think, up to 4 without having to pay for it too.
However, though, when it comes to open source social networking, I would say MeWe is kicking Facebook's butt right now.
They are gaining people. They're growing.
They're very serious about privacy.
It does seem that way from what I've read, and it just works. It looks clean. I haven't seen any ads, at least not yet, anyway.
I've had a couple fake accounts post links to like porno crap. Like they get reported quickly, and they get taken. It's like, click this link for pics, that kind of thing. But they get reported quickly.
Steve, what's that link you posted on MeWe? It's Italian from Linux Insider.
Condrus OS. It's it's a KDE based Arch, I believe. And its nationality, I guess, is Italian.
Oh, really?
And they have, I believe it was KDE. I was looking at the article when I was at work today.
It's Italian? I use a KDE. You use a KDE.
And it's Arch-based, and they have ICE in it, all set up.
All right. Italian ICE? Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I just have one little Ubuntu question. Even though Canonical doesn't support Unity anymore, this has always crossed my mind. If they're not doing anything with Unity anymore, why still keep it in the repository if they're not going to do anything with it?
Because there's people that still like it, and they run
on the LTS. They might as well keep it there, for another 2 years. Then they're done.
Is there an LTS that's still running that they're still supporting with Unity?
Unity, oh yeah. 16.04, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go. That's probably why it's still in the repos.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Gnostic, ice in the trunk. Right, thank you. I got to change it soon.
However, this is a question though, because the LTS uses a different set of repos as the 19. So is it in the 19 repos as well?
That's a good question. I have not tested 19.04, so I can't be sure if it's in there.
Well, you should be able to search packages from their website, right?
Yeah.
Like most distros allow you to do that. Ubuntu.
I have an Ubuntu here on a virtual machine, so.
All right, let's make this a 2-minute warning, and then I'm going to hit the sack and this. So thanks everybody for joining in. Of course, thanks everybody in the chat. The new people, awesome. King of Bass and Lars and. Sorry, I think there was somebody else before I went cold. My ThinkPad went hot, actually. Then I went cold. Yeah. But
the squirrels kicked the bucket.
The squirrels. Yeah. Squirrel said more peanuts, which meant more RAM. Sorry, didn't have it. But it worked. It's approved. I did what I had to do. I proved that it can be done. I don't recommend it, but it can be done. So anyway, I might jump on in the morning, do like a Good Morning Linux, because it's going to rain. I can't cut the grass tomorrow, I guess, in the morning. Rain here in Ohio. Man, 40s tomorrow, really? 40 degrees? My goodness. I'm going to freeze my cannolis.
61 right here.
It's 55 here. It's going to be 40s tomorrow, so we'll not be cutting grass tomorrow.
It's going to be pouring tomorrow here.
It sucks. Sweat is nuts,
maybe you'll
man.
get what we've got.
Up and down, up and down. I'm sick of it.
66 tomorrow, 77 Sunday here in Wisconsin. So
Dude, this Ubuntu does not want to run.
Yeah, Stan the Man, and you were the other new person. Yeah.
63 and sunny tomorrow, and 75.
Not here, man. Not here. We're going to get 40s tomorrow. It's cloudy on Sunday. Oh, heat wave of 60. Thanks. Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, it got up to probably, I don't know if it was pushing 60.
Thank you, Julie H. Julie, are you new? Are you new? Julie H. I can't remember. But anyway, thank you. Good night. Great show, she says. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm actually thinking about trying another window manager out on this production machine. I'm pretty much, I've tested i3. I went through XFCE from a long time ago. I'm most likely going towards either Qtile or Xmonad next. I just haven't made a full decision.
The only thing stopping me from using things like that is that, like, some of these window managers, their config files are written in a programming language, which I don't.
Yeah.
I don't code. I'm not a coder, so for me, i3 is good because this config file is written in a legible format. So I could look at that and say, okay, this is how I bind a key. So I could type this out. And it's written very, very clearly. Like anybody can read it and know what they're doing almost.
And the one thing I like about i3 is thanks to the config file you sent me, I actually got it to work with the XFCE panel very well.
I'm trying to learn how to use the polybar because I want to get the power line theme in my. I think that, and I haven't figured out how to do it in i3 blocks. I don't think it's possible, but I'm gonna give i3 the polybar a shot.
Besides those two window managers I mentioned, other window managers have come to mind too. I mean, I haven't done Fluxbox yet. I haven't done JWM yet either.
All right, I'm going to shut this down. Like I said, I might jump on tomorrow morning for one of those good morning things. If not, Sunday, and it's a big maybe for Easter, I'm going to try and get Stephanie on live for like a mini Easter concert. Maybe if she has time, I don't know. She's writing songs for herself and for other people doing vocals. She says delivering vocals. I'm not sure how all that works, but if not, we'll just record the news nonsense and catch it Sunday evening. But for those of you who watch and haven't yet hit the notification bell, hit that so you'll know like if we go live. I can't really announce it. It'll be a last minute thing. I won't know until Sunday. If she has time, so make sure you hit the bell so you'll know, and it'll be morning my time, like around between 10 11:30 if we do it. So be on the lookout for that. We'll see if she has time. So on that note, happy Easter all. If I don't talk to you guys this weekend, everybody who's new in the chat, thank you for stopping by. You're welcome anytime, newbies. Even if you don't, even if you still don't have a clue, we don't have a clue sometimes either, But so you're always welcome here on the show. Thanks everybody for the people here as co-hosts for this evening. Sorry for that glitch I had where I had to jump off, and resuscitate my squirrels. But
well, glad you got out of your trunk. So always keep that spare trunk.
Yeah. I actually put the squirrels in the trunk where they can rest, So
they're like 13 years old?
Anyway, Anna, good night. And good night, everybody here also. And again, I'll catch you guys Sunday. We'll see. So I'm going to end this.
Caroline, thanks for inviting.
Arrivederci.
Goodbye.
Good night, everybody.
Happy Easter.
Bye.
Happy
all.
Easter.